Hi, night owls, or people on the other side of the world. This is a bit later than I'm usually doing these, but it's another impromptu session. Just felt like hopping on tonight and doing some of this piece. So I don't know if anyone caught it. Well, a few people did. About 45 minutes ago, I posted in my stories that I was going to be working on a little brush pen drawing here, and asked if anyone had suggestions for what I should do tonight. And from the suggestions I got, I thought chameleon sounded like a fun one. So here we've got a chameleon, because it's been a while since I've drawn a chameleon. I'm going to be doing this as a brush pen endeavor once I get this basic sketch down. So what I've got here in front of me is this frame, which I did in brush pen, although this over here is actually a print of it. The original one I have over here. And it is going to be the limitation page for the limited edition book that I am going to be releasing really soon with my Undying Tales drawings. And if you're curious what limitation page is, here's an example. This is from my other limited edition little book. And this is the limitation page for it, and it's what you do when you have a book that is of limited quantity, and you sign and number it. But I also like to leave a space on my pages for remarks. These are original hand-drawn sketches in the book. So this is going to be the limitation page for the new book, and I am just working on that today. You can see what it will look like in a more finalized form. This is just a mock-up with the information up there, and then the drawings would go in this central area. So I'm doing this now as sort of a sample remark, because I'm going to be putting together all the information for the book pre-sales pretty soon, and I needed some examples to use for that. But with this, I will probably be having this as a giveaway item at some point in the next couple of weeks as well, just to stir up some excitement for the book's release. I might need some more suggestions for a couple more drawings as well, because I want to do a few little demo example pieces for what remarks might look like. And if you're interested in the book, there is a permanent swipe link in my saved stories section, but it is undyingtales.com. You can find information about it there. Have I tried Rembrandt chameleon paints? No, I have not. Is there a reason why they are called chameleon paints? Are they color shift duochrome type of things, or is it just the name of them? I think, oh yeah, I'm gonna do like a little butterfly or something curving up on the tip of this branch. Hopefully it's a big enough butterfly that this chameleon does not decide to eat it. think some nice little ferny curly cues here might be kind of fun as an echo of a chameleon's tail. Oh yeah, so if anyone's got further suggestions for what you might like to see for some of the other example remarks that I've got to do, let me know, because I'll be using them as giveaways as well, and maybe you could win the thing that you suggest. I'm just doing super rough sketch here of stuff. Mainly just a few of the foreground things, because I do a lot of negative space stuff when I'm working with inks. So I like to make sure I have all my foreground elements in place so that I don't block those out once I start with the inking. I think that's good enough for now. And I've got here, I don't remember what brand this is. I'll have to look it up later again. But it is a disposable brush pen. It's lasted me a really long time. And I keep crossing my fingers that it will keep lasting me because for some reason I really like this particular one. I even bought one that looks like it's the same brand, but it's different. I mean, the tip is the same, but it just kind of behaves a little differently. It just gets really juicy with the ink versus this one, which is amazing for my little fine pointed detail stuff. I feel like it's even more precise and fine than using like a 0.3 tip pen, which is why I love it, and it's great for shading also. But like I said, even when I bought, I think what was the exact same brand, it just didn't behave exactly the same, like the ink was different or something. Oh, I did that thing where I scrolled up and I didn't realize that there were questions going on because I was stuck at a scrolled up section and I was like, oh, no one's saying anything. I guess I'll just be talking to myself tonight. So let's see. Sam Fallow says that the Chameleon Rembrandts are color shift. Oh yeah, that sounds fun. I love color shift stuff. Those are great fun to play with. Yeah, Ren Waters, I'll look up what this is, and as I always do with these live sessions, I will put a list of all the stuff that I've used in this session later on when I have it archived. So just check back there later, 5-10 minutes after I finish, and turn off the camera later, because I'll have it uploaded, and I'll make sure to look up in my jet pen shopping history what this brush pen was, because I know I got it from jet pens. The anagram says I should do a queen bee holding court. That sounds like a really fun idea, and I will definitely consider doing that for one of the others. Let's see, suggestions for other things. Octopus, foxes, crows, snow leopards, owl, ferret. Yeah, I like all of those. Anglerfish, luminous jellyfish. And what time of night is this? You can hear night insects. Yes, you can hear crickets outside. They get very chirpy. And it's always funny that this is not the first time when I've been on at night and people have observed that they can hear the crickets, because they're not super loud. Like, my door is actually, it's only open, it's a tiny little crack, my sliding screen door. And it's kind of a faint sound in here, but for some reason, I guess the audio really picks it up. But it is 9 o'clock over here at night. I've had a long day outdoors, so it's kind of nice right now, settling in and listening to the crickets and hanging out with you all and doing this, because I haven't really had a chance to do much arting today. And yeah, I'm in Pacific time because I'm in California. I was out in San Francisco today, and it's my first time since COVID lockdown heading out into the city, because I live across the bay in Oakland, and it is weird being in downtown. Well, I mean, we didn't spend any time downtown, we just kind of drove through it on our way to the opposite side of the city, but it was so bizarre to see the financial district mostly empty. I mean, the only people hanging out there were like maintenance people and security on a Friday, in what is usually a really bustling time for the financial district. And not to mention getting across the bridge on the freeway into the city in no time flat, something that can take an hour in rush hour and normal times. Let's see, other suggestions are jellyfish, cockatoo. Looks like he's about to get himself a butterfly or moth. Yeah. It's trying to make them that little moth big enough that maybe he wouldn't be dinner, but I think it's it's just about a dinner size there. Well, chameleons have to eat too, right? neighbor has had chickens in her yard multiple times, and chickens keep meeting their end with local critters, most likely raccoons or possibly foxes, because there's some of those around here too. And she's like, yeah, I'm sad, because she really likes her chickens. She chooses them as pets. She says, I'm sad, but raccoons and foxes have to eat. I think the best thing to do while watching is work on my own current watercolor project, Anachronistic Atelier. Yeah, what are you working on? What do you think? Should I leave this butterfly here? There's tension, action. Will it live or will it not? Will it fly away in time? So I'm going to ask my printer to do the limitation page in an uncoated paper so that hopefully I can use my brush pens with it, because normal paper stock that is used in book printing, most of the time I go for coated paper just because it makes for nicer colors. I always like the feel and the idea of uncoated stock, but except for the Succulent Dragons coloring book, I've always in the end chosen the coated paper because it just makes for much more rich colors in the printing. However, this page is black and white, so I don't have to worry about that, and if it makes for a nicer surface for me to do these remarks on, that is another pro in favor. Yes, those are probably fireworks that we hear. I haven't really heard too many of them since 4th of July. Leading up to the 4th for like the whole month of June, it felt like there were constant fireworks going on. I couldn't see any of them, but I could hear them all. the paper I'm using is this arteza pad. Let me show you what it is. It's this stuff. And when I first got this paper, I tried using it with watercolor and I hated it. I said, no, not good for watercolor. And then I just shoved it aside for the longest time. And then I was needing something to use for an ink surface, because that was when I started up this Undying Tales project last October. And normally I use Bristol board for most of my inking stuff, which is very smooth, and it's a hot press surface basically. And I was out of that, so I saw this Arteza stuff and I pulled it out and I said, okay, let's give this a shot for ink. And it turned out to be the most amazing stuff for me, for at least the way I want to work with my brush pens, because it's got a little bit of texture to it, and it's still smooth enough though that it really lets me get kind of the best of both worlds with both my fine line detail, you know, like this stuff right here where I'm just outlining the tail, while also being able to do this kind of dry brush shading with ink using a brush pen. And so I ended up doing the whole series, the whole Undying Tales series on this paper, and I've been loving it since, just for any of my inking stuff. Do I think it will eat the butterfly? I don't know. That's for the viewer to decide. Perhaps he will be a friendly Disney chameleon. Which one was it that had the chameleon friend? Which Disney princess was that? I can't remember. Oh yeah, it was Rapunzel, Tangled. He is pondering the meal, or pondering the meaning of chameleon life. Or perhaps he is pondering whether he is a butterfly dreaming about being a chameleon. Isn't that the Chinese philosopher story, where the man dreams that he was a butterfly dreaming about being a man? Something along those lines. Fireblood says, we loved your Undying Tales series. We own the elephant piece. Yay! I'm so glad the elephant has a home with you. I want to do another set of them this October, but it remains to be seen whether I will be able to squeeze it in, because I've got a lot of... October's kind of starting to shape up to be a really busy month. We'll see if I can manage to squeeze it in, because I really do want to. I really enjoyed doing the whole series last year, and then there was like a little mini series of them back in February to raise some Australia bushfire money. But yeah, it was such a success last October that I want to continue it as an ongoing yearly project. I think, wait, someone's saying the chameleon is looking away from the butterfly. I think something is threatening to eat the chameleon, or at least distracting it, and the butterfly is about to make its escape. Quite possible. Nature's like that. Something's always out to eat you, no matter who you are. Well, I guess unless you're a lion. Anachronistic Atelier says, I finally have cotton paper. I'm so excited. It's not fighting me. Yay, I'm so glad that you tried some finally. Yeah, paper really does make such a difference. Just in the way it really affects what techniques you can use and what you can do. I make this look so easy. Yeah, well, it's been 20 plus years of professional practice and lifetime overall of doing drawing, painting, all of it. Although one of the ways I feel that I've gotten more adept and comfortable over the years with working in pen and ink is the fact that I do a lot of remarks in books and things that I sell for my website. And I had a friend who very recently put out her first major book, and she was doing remarks for it for the first time, and she was a little bit anxious about doing them, because at least the way I do it, I know some artists will sketch out remarks first before committing to pen, or even just do them only in pencil and they never switch over to pen for them. And I just take out my pen and just go straight to the page with it. And doing as many remarks as I've done over the years, I've lost the fear of putting pen directly to the page and just going for things like that. I do like to have pencil sketches if I want to have a more planned composition and I want to be more deliberate. Although that's not exactly true either, because one of the things of working directly with pen is you force yourself to learn to have a kind of deliberateness about all your marks, about all your lines, because if you're not going to have a pencil sketch first, you have to make sure that every line that you do matters and that each mark is what you want it to be, and that it assists in furthering the story and furthering what you are creating. And having that fluency to be able to be comfortable with that will translate then to all aspects of art making. Having a comfort level with just being able to put a permanent mark making tool to your page and letting it dictate where the drawing is going to go. You know, that is something that really translates to all aspects of art making then. Even when you have recourse to an eraser and can back out from something, knowing that your pencil lines have this sort of confidence also will help with just the flow overall. So I recommend trying to draw sometimes just for fun, although I guess to some people it is not their idea of fun, but just, you know, going for it with something permanent and not worrying about making mistakes, and just trying to gain confidence with a medium where you can't go back, where you can't do take-backs. You know, that said, over here I am working with a pencil sketch for some very rough, basic compositional setting overall. But you'll note that the pencil drawing was extremely rough, and a great majority of what I am drawing here now is relatively spontaneous. What happened with the last unicorn project? Betsy F is asking. The last unicorn project was successfully completed and released a while back. In fact, let me see, I can pull out a copy of it. This one, I presume you're asking about. This is another example of a limitation page. This one does not have a remark on it, but it is a tangle of thorny vines and things that I drew. And I think I did like 6 full-page illustrations for this and a bunch of vignettes. So I don't know if they still have any copies of this book. I'm pretty sure they don't have the limited edition, but they probably have some open edition softcover copies if you go look at Tachyon Press. Yeah, this was a fun book to work on. I love The Last Unicorn. And so this book is not The Last Unicorn. It's Last Unicorn, The Lost Journey. It is snippets from The Last Unicorn that Peter Beagle decided for overall flow of the story to leave out eventually in the final manuscript. But they are really beautiful little mini stories of their own that are sort of self-contained in a way. In a way, all of The Last Unicorns like that. It's very episodic. And so these are some chapters that did not make their way into the final book, but have some rather colorful and interesting characters that make for an interesting tale on their own as well. In fact, I think that's why, that was why he eventually did not include these chapters, was because these characters were so interesting on their own that he was worried, he or his editor were worried that they would take away from the main characters, the tale that the main characters had to tell, because these guys were so interesting in their own right. So yeah, Tachyon Press is the ones who produced it. Let's see if I could find that. Yeah, Tachyon there. Sam Bello says, I would love this as a coloring book. I am working, well, I haven't yet started working, but I will be shortly working on a new coloring book project. An old editor associate of mine has approached me with a project that sounds like a lot of fun, and so I am going to be taking that on, and I think they're hoping to have it out by next spring. I haven't started working on it yet, so I have to do that part first. But yes, there will be a new coloring book soon. I might use some bits of Undying Tales as springboards for the ideas for some of the drawings that I'll be doing for that. If you have any favorites, let me know. Hi Rachel, the stream has been going for about half an hour. This was a completely unplanned one, so I was out most of the day, and I wanted to work on this while streaming, so it just happened when I got home. I was out in San Francisco. This piece is not going to be part of the book. It is, well, not at least this part. The chameleon part is not. The part that will be in the book is this outer frame, which is going to be the limitation page. And I'm doing this because I want to have some examples of what the remarks might look like in the book, in the special edition. So this is a little chameleon, and I'm probably going to use this drawing as a giveaway sometime in the next couple weeks or so. Sam Fallow says, I sketch on my iPad a lot, and the other day I was using paper and made the mistake of tapping the paper to undo out of habit. I've done that too. The other thing that I've done is I mostly read on my Kindle, and so you tap it to turn the page, and I have been reading a paper book and tapped it multiple times, waiting for the page to turn. and thinking, like, why isn't the page turning? Why isn't it changing? Before I realize I'm very embarrassed because, you know, it's a physical book instead of a Kindle book. It's funny what we do out of habit. Oh yeah, but back on the subject of drawing with ink directly, and my friend who was just going to do it for the first time with her Raymarks, and the advice I told her was to kind of pick subject matter that you are comfortable with first. Like don't try to stretch all your different new muscles at once, but slowly work yourself into it, work yourself up to it. And like when I first began doing remarks like that, I kind of had a few in my back pocket, images that I was really comfortable with drawing. And that took away the fear a little bit, because it was like, okay, I know how to draw this, and I could kind of perfect it with each iteration that I did it. And then after a while, when I started doing that, I had a few, and I started adding more and more to my repertoire. And then I would get bored of doing the same things, and so I started shifting around more and doing subjects that I had never drawn before in that way, or poses that were a little bit more unusual than the comfortable poses that I had been so far working on. And over time, it just became easier and easier to stretch in that way and to explore the boundaries of my paper and my page without fear of what my marks were doing. So I don't know if you followed the ink series that I did in 2019 for the Fox and Floof. I did all of those pieces without sketch. I just kind of drew every single one of them each day, going straight to the ink. And I think that whole series on time-lapse video. I think if you go look in my YouTube archive, you can find it there. That's these drawings. So I did all of these without any sketching beforehand, and that I like how it feels, because it gives them all more a sense of immediacy, and it has the energy that sketching does. Sometimes when you do a sketch and then shift to a finalized, perfected form, you lose that energy that the pencil lines have and the immediacy of them. And I really like how you can retain that if you skip the sketching phase. And you can also keep some of it in an intermediary form when you don't sketch out all the details, when you sort of give yourself a framework to work within, but don't go overboard with planning and plotting out every detailed element. So you leave room to breathe, and you leave room to play and explore. And that is a way of retaining the freshness and energy that you can have when you are doing a sketch. Although it's funny sometimes when I do my straight to ink drawings, and if I post like a time-lapse video or some little snippet of it in my Instagram stories, and someone inevitably messages me and says, I can't see the pencil drawing. Is it just super light? Where's the pencil lines? And I told them there is none. That's another reason why I also like brush pens. I feel like they have more of that sense of immediacy than a straight up just nib or ballpoint, or just a pen has. Just because there's more looseness to your line and more wiggle room for it, and the thickness and all of that. All right, I think this guy's done. I think I'll do another one of these on Monday night as well. So what should I do for that one? You've all thrown out a bunch of good suggestions. I'll have to go through that list again later and see what sounds appealing. Is this pen I'm using waterproof? No, it is not. If you brush water over it, it will reactivate. An owl. Yeah, I do like owls. I might do that. Owl or jellyfish, crow with a trinket, the queen bee with her court that someone suggested earlier. I like that idea too. Alright, so this is pretty much done. Thanks everyone for hanging out with me while I did this. And like I said, this is probably going to be the subject of a giveaway in the next couple weeks. So keep an eye out for that. I usually post them as free, open to all posts on my Patreon. So if you're not a subscriber, you can always follow for free to just make sure you see the things like that when I post them. But I'll also mention it here on Instagram when that goes up. It should probably be in the next week or so, I think, because I'm getting ready to start doing pre-orders on the Undying Tales book. And this that I'm using is a brush pen. I will look up what the brand is and post that in the notes when I archive this video. So as always, I always list the tools and items that I use in a video in the archive. So you can check that out later. It'll take me a couple minutes to post it after we finish this and stop recording. So just give me a few and check back in about 5 minutes and you should see it there. Thank you, Rachel. Thanks for the endorsement. and good morning. I hope you were able to see some of the earlier part of this video because I think I'm wrapping up right now. I'm sure Doken. One final thing, gotta add signature. Ooh, while I have you all here, I can show you the cover design for the soft cover version of the book. That's going to be this. Of course, there's going to be graphics and text, but this is the basis of the soft cover. Yeah, this is definitely going to be up on my IGTV. I always archive the stuff, so it'll be there in just a few minutes. But thank you, everyone, for hanging out with me tonight. And my next scheduled live streaming is going to be on Monday. That is Monday the 3rd, August 3rd at 6 p.m. Pacific time. Goodbye.